Hey, Rachel, open your eyes, sleepyhead. We're almost at our hotel. I woke up startled. Ugh, my neck hurt. How had I managed to fall asleep during a 30-minute ride? I turned my head and looked at my best friend, Madison. She practically jumped with excitement, sitting behind the steering wheel of my Prius. Why are you yelling? Are you kidding me? Tomorrow you and I will be settling into our dorm, and tonight we are going to our first college party at the infamous Kappa Alpha fraternity. I don't even know which I am more excited about. Let me guess. I bet it's the party, I laughed, because she'd noticed my sarcastic tone of voice and frowned. You're no fun. Sorry, Mads, I promised to behave. I honestly couldn't believe that our parents let us leave for college before tomorrow's move-in day. I thought we would be coming here with them in tow, but I guess the fact that we're both 18 and never got into any trouble, they let it slide. I'm glad they don't know our secrets. She winked at me, and I laughed. So, tonight is the party, and it will probably be my first one-night stand at college, Madison continued. Tomorrow, we will meet our parents and get settled into our dormitory. Do we need to go to the party? Maybe we could just take a walk around town and find our way to the dormitory? Rachel Myers, you're starting to piss me off. We had a deal. You promised me you would go with me to this fucking party, and you will go with me, even if I have to drag you there. Okay, Maddie girl, I give up. No need for violence. Good girl, you know I love you. Besides, why do you need to walk around town? Home is only 30 minutes away. We have been here hundreds of times, and it's a small town, nothing like the Big Apple, where you can be lost within a few minutes. You have a solid point, girl. How long until we get to our hotel? I need to use the bathroom badly. First you fell asleep, now you want to pee. Where is my best friend, and what did you do to her, old lady? Shut up, Mads. I lightly smacked her thigh, and she laughed. Well, thanks to my driving skills, we're here. Go check us in, and I will park your car. I groaned, but followed her orders. Later, Madison caught up with me as I strolled to the room we had just checked into. I took my time using the bathroom and then walked back into the room to find Madison already in her lacy red underwear, staring at two dresses on the bed. You should go with the strapless pink dress. You look sexy in it. I plopped myself down on my bed and looked at my friend. Her nose wrinkled with concern. Do you really think so? Yeah, but you will need to choose a strapless bra. Consider it done. Madison laughed, unclasped her bra straps, and put on the pink dress I suggested. She looked stunning and unbelievably sexy. Red curls enveloped her baby doll face with its full lips and light green eyes. She already had makeup on, and it only made her look more beautiful and also more mature, but I guessed that was her intention. We would be freshmen at the party, and she didn't want that fact to stand out to everyone. You look perfect, Mads. That dress hugs all your curves in all the right places, and your cleavage. God, I almost pity the boys at the party. Madison spun in front of the mirror, looking at herself from all sides. She winked at her reflection and turned to me. Yeah, I am dressed to impress and seduce one of the fraternity guys tonight. Are you sure that my round ass looks good in it? She threw me a questioning look, and I nodded with a smile, which she returned. Rachel, I can't believe that in 3 days we will start college. It's like my dream come true. I am going to study with my best friend in the whole world, and we are both finally single. She shut up almost immediately after spilling out those last words and looked at me for my reaction. I shrugged my shoulders. I didn't want to think about my newly single life tonight. Madison noticed my movement and tried to ease the atmosphere. The most important question now is, what are you planning to wear tonight? I shrugged again because, truth be told, I didn't care. I didn't want to go to this party, and I would have been perfectly fine arriving here with my parents tomorrow. But Madison made me come. She drove us here and even chose this hotel for the night. I sighed. I brought only one dress with me. This. I dug in my travel bag and pulled out a white summer dress. It was a scalloped lace, A-line dress with 3/4 sleeves, and it contrasted with my tanned skin. I changed into it without hesitation and without waiting for Madison's approval. I knew she wanted us to look sexy tonight, but I was going to look lovely. I put on blue flats and let my brown hair down, tossing it around a little. Since my hair was often braided, it had a slight curl at the ends now, just the way I loved it. Please, tell me that at least you'll let me do your makeup. No, I'm good, I answered. I applied colourless lip gloss to moisturize my lips and added green push-up mascara to my eyelashes. Madison and I both had green eyes, but mine were a darker shade. My mum had always told me that my eyes were almost emerald green. When she saw me for the first time as a baby, she thought my name should be Dorothy. Thanks to my grandmother, who didn't let her do that. I loved my name, my full name actually, Rachel. But as most of my friends called me Ray, I got used to that. Well, I must say, you look stunning, even in this boring dress. I pouted my lips at Madison, and she laughed. It's a lovely dress, but I was hoping for something sexier, you know. But I guess, as long as this dress highlights your slim waist, big boobs, and long legs, I'm okay with it, even if your round hips and tight ass will stay hidden from everyone. We always have your ass and hips on display anyway, right? I winked at her and walked to the door. Do you even know where this party is? You forgot that I had a spring fling with a member of the Kappa Alpha fraternity last year? Of course I know, Madison answered, and walked next to me. She put her hand on my hip. Ready? Always. I smiled, and we sauntered out of our room. Madison and I walked down the street, and as we neared the college campus, I heard the sounds of the party. Loud music could be heard perfectly, even from a distance. So, what's our plan for tonight? Are we mingling or just having fun? I asked. How about both? I think most of the older students have already arrived. I hope to meet some guys from the football team. If we're lucky, Jace will be here. He's gorgeous and hot. Even one look at him makes me wet, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. Who is Jace? I arched my eyebrow at her questioningly. Rachel, I can't believe it. Your ignorance is amazing. Madison laughed and rolled her eyes at me. Jace is the star of our college's football team, and he's the best quarterback the team has had in several years. I heard that after graduation, he could even be drafted to the NFL. I flinched when I heard the word quarterback. The memories of Adam flooded my mind. He was my boyfriend for 2 years, and also the quarterback on our high school football team. He was my first serious boyfriend. I gave him all of myself, and I was sure that he was the one for me. How stupid was I? Very. He started cheating on me a short time after I had lost my virginity to him. Our relationship ended with my heart being broken when he dumped me 1 month before graduation. He told me that I just couldn't satisfy him in bed, no matter how hard I tried. So he just chose what was best for him and dumped me for one of the meanest girls in our class. They had been fucking behind my back for several months before Adam finally decided to be honest with me. How generous of him. Fucking asshole. Rachel, are you still sulking because of dickhead Adam Farrell? She must have noticed me flinching. No, Mads, honestly. You remember that everyone expected me to have a public breakdown, but I held my head high and didn't show any of them how painful his betrayal was for me. That helped me to overcome my pain, I explained. It's just strange. He was a big part of my life for 2 years, and I loved him. I thought we were fine, and our sex life was perfect. I was wrong about both. Now I think that maybe I am frigid or not sexy enough. Ugh, I don't know. Every time I hear the word quarterback, my mind goes blank, and I am not sexy enough flashes in my head like a neon light. Madison appeared indignant. Don't you see yourself in the mirror? You're stunning with your big emerald eyes. You have a perfect, curvaceous body. Your body is like a guitar. I even envy your boobs and long legs. An ass. She linked our arms and tugged me closer to her. I am beautiful. I know that. But what if I'm not good in bed? What if Adam was right, and I can't satisfy any man? Adam is a jerk, and he didn't deserve a precious girlfriend like you. Believe me, Ray, I have a feeling that you will find your perfect guy here. I don't know why, but you know my intuition. It's always right. Here is to hoping. I hugged my best friend and smiled at her. So, I guess you want to get laid tonight? Maybe I could talk you out of it? Just drinking and dancing? Nah, I have been waiting for this party for too long. Rachel, I know there's no sex for you tonight, but at least promise me you'll try to have fun. Will do, Kitty Mads, will do. I chuckled at her pouting lips as she marched us to the front door of the fraternity house, which was wide open. People were everywhere. They laughed and drank from their red cups. Madison and I had been at the party for almost 40 minutes, and we had already caught the attention of two guys. I wasn't interested in either of them, but Madison found one of them attractive, so I shut my mouth and tried to be nice. One of them was Liam, and the other was Caden, but I wasn't sure who was who. As I said, I wasn't interested. Madison dragged me to dance a little, and the guys followed us to the dance floor. Soon enough, Madison was locking lips with her admirer. I saw the other guy looking in my direction with a suggestive smirk, and I decided to go find the bathroom. After I wandered a little through the house, I finally found it. Thank goodness it was empty. When I was on my way back to the living room where Madison was, I saw a room off to the right. The door was open, and the lights were dimmed. I heard laughter. I was curious, so I walked into the room and stopped, leaning my side on the doorframe. There were people all around, but what caught my attention was a group resting on two couches in the middle of the room. They were playing cards, drinking, and they didn't give a damn about the people around them who were watching them play. I don't know what made me stay here. Maybe the atmosphere of the room, or the guys playing cards. I stood with a red cup in my hand, taking each of the guys on the couch into my view. They were athletes, probably football players. They all looked muscular and huge. They were popular and loved by the girls. I could tell just by observing them. Some girls were sitting on their laps, some perched on the back of the sofas. A few lingered near the walls. Then, a guy with a short haircut, who was sitting with his back turned to me, shifted a little, and my eyes landed on the most gorgeous guy I had ever seen. He had been engaged in the game with a concentrated look on his face, but at the same time, he had a radiant smile. The guy had a strong jawline with a little stubble, and his straight nose had a slight crook. His lips were deliciously full, and God, he had dimples, so cute and so unbelievably sexy. He was relaxed, but still, his bulging biceps were on display, and I even caught sight of a tattoo on his right forearm. His muscular chest was visible through his tight white t-shirt, which hugged him perfectly and sent a wave of electricity through me as my eyes roamed over his body. His hair was dark brown and slightly messy. I didn't have the slightest idea who he was, but I knew one thing. He was the leader of this group, a star. The other guys looked at him almost with admiration in their eyes. I had been staring at him for so long that he finally locked eyes with me. I lost myself in his eyes. They were almost black, with thick lashes. I held his gaze like it was the most important thing for me to do tonight. He blinked. I won. But his gaze didn't leave me. Instead, his eyes shifted down and roamed over my body, lingering a little on my chest and my long legs, before they returned to bore into my eyes again. I felt hot, like the air in the room became charged with heat. As we continued staring at each other, I felt another wave of heat, but this time between my legs. I felt my panties starting to become wet, my clit aching with desire. I wanted this guy. Badly. I had never felt like this before. I knew nothing about him, but it didn't matter. He could walk up to me and take me right there at the door, and I wouldn't say a word in protest. Shit! What was going on, really? He just looked at me. What would happen if he decided to talk to me? I crossed my legs and shifted a little. I needed to take control of my stupid body. The guy saw my actions and smirked. He was aware of his effect on me. Asshole. A blonde guy sitting near him clapped him on the back, returning his attention to the game. I felt so weak in my knees that I didn't even have the power to leave the room. So, I stayed. More people arrived. Some came, others went, and I just stood there, trying to wrap my brain around what had just happened. The guy didn't look my way anymore, and honestly, I felt disappointed. He liked what he saw. I could tell by the way his eyes lingered on my body. So why didn't he try to approach me? I didn't understand anything right now. I was confused. Just then, I felt someone's hands land on my waist, pulling my back against their chest. I had no idea what was going on, but I was scared. I felt the guy holding me start to grind against me with his arousal. I tried to wiggle out of his arms, but it was no use. He was too strong. I felt hot breath on my neck and caught the scent of alcohol, and the fear inside me started to turn to anger. Hey, hey, babe, it's me, Liam. Why did you leave me all alone for so long? We were having a good time together, so I thought maybe you were lost, and I was right. Who the hell was Liam? Then I realized he was one of the two guys from the beginning of the party, but I didn't want him. He was the reason I had left the living room in the first place. Anger started to take over me. I tried to push his hands off of me, but his grip only tightened. He held me firmly to the spot. I felt him getting harder behind me, and my cheeks flushed. His one hand stayed on my stomach, the other cupped my breast and squeezed hard. I flinched. He was groping and harassing me in a fully crowded room, and I couldn't even manage to say a word. I closed my eyes to calm down and collect my strength to push this freak off me. That's when I sensed someone in front of me. I heard a deep and low voice. It sounded demanding. "What's your problem, Matthews? This girl doesn't look like she's enjoying your attention." I opened my eyes and felt relief. It was the sexy guy I'd been watching. He was taller than me, around 6'3", I would guess, with broad shoulders. His hands were folded over his chest, showing his well-defined biceps. He wasn't relaxed now. He was tense, like a predator ready to strike. And still, I felt the heat again between my legs. This guy was making me want him. Bad. Despite all the stress, I felt the heat between my legs again. I couldn't believe myself. This guy was making me hot and in need of release. I had been entranced by his eyes before, and now I felt intimidated by his presence. This feeling was too new to me, and I didn't understand it. The only thing I wanted right now was to run away from this party. Liam dropped his hands from my sides, only to pull me closer to his hips. I felt dizzy and nauseous. The need to run away was only intensifying with every second. "You're wrong, dude. She's just new in town and a little shy. Give me some time alone with her, and she'll be begging for my attention." "I don't think so. Let her go, Matthews." His voice was calm, but it carried power. Shivers ran down my spine. I took a moment and looked him over again. He was stunning, and he exuded masculinity and pure sex. Not to mention, there was a natural charm to him, with his damn dimples. I was attracted to him on an instinctual level. The feeling was so raw and uninhibited. I was now certain that he was a football player. Every inch of his physique screamed it. I pictured him without his t-shirt and swallowed, my breathing becoming ragged. I would have given anything in the world to have him there and then. My body acted on its own and arched toward him. It was as if I didn't have any power over it. The desire was painful, and it overwhelmed me. I was going nuts. The atmosphere was intense, and I was fantasizing about this gorgeous man before my eyes. These feelings started to freak me out even more than the creep beside me. "Bro, what the fuck? That is no way to talk to your guest." Finally, Liam let go of me and stared at the guy. But he wasn't alone. Already, the blonde guy and another guy in a baseball cap stood on both sides of him. Wow, talk about stunning guys. The blonde looked quite different from the guy with the dimples, but he was dangerously gorgeous too. Looking at him, I just knew in an instant that he was trouble, that he would break a girl's heart and move on without even taking one look back. The face of the guy in the baseball cap was hidden since there wasn't enough light in the room, but he wasn't smaller than the other two. They must all have been over 6'3" or 4 inches tall, and they all had hot and muscular bodies. This trinity looked impressive, and they were the real deal. "Exactly. This is our house. You do as we say, or get the hell out of here," said the guy with the dimples. "Whatever. She's not worth it," Liam spat and turned to leave. I sighed with relief and relaxed, leaning my side on the doorframe again. All 3 men were looking after him. Everyone in the room was quiet. "Go after him. Make sure he's out of here," the guy with the dimples said to the one in the cap. I didn't even know their names, so I gave them nicknames. The blonde looked me over with a seductive grin on his lips and a strange glint in his eyes. He returned to the couch while I brought my gaze back to the dimpled one who had been studying me this whole time. "Are you okay? He didn't hurt you, right?" I felt kindness in his words and smiled. He was a good guy. I just knew it. He cared. "Yeah, thank you." He shrugged his shoulders to show me it wasn't a big deal, but it was. His actions were a big deal to me. "I don't remember seeing you before," he said. "Well, he was right about one thing," I replied, referring to Liam. "It is my first year here. Guess it's not starting off so well for me." "Don't let one asshole ruin your first college party," he smiled at me. Damn. With that smile and his dimples, he was even hotter. His gaze once again imprisoned me. I wanted him to kiss me, to devour me with his luscious lips. I imagined his big hands cupping my ass and his tongue on my breasts. We stared silently at each other for what felt like a few minutes. I saw that his eyes weren't black as I thought they were before. They were brown with hints of gold, and what I saw in them gave me goosebumps. Goosebumps. The guy wanted me. His desire was almost equal to mine. As I realized this, heat spread through my whole body. I was ready to tell him yes as soon as he would ask me. But then I heard a voice. The blonde was calling him back to the game. The moment was ruined. "Logan, are you planning to stand there all night?" We were in the middle of something. "Or did you forget already?" "Okay. At least I know his name. It's Logan. Prepare to get your ass kicked, Drew, because I will win. Again." So the blonde was Drew. Noted. Logan had answered without even looking back at him. Then Logan nodded at me, and the next moment I was all alone at the doorframe. I stayed. I waited for him to invite me to the couch, but he didn't. I hoped he would look at me again, but he didn't. It was as if I didn't even exist anymore. I am nothing to him. The words echoed in my mind as I rushed to leave the party. When I reached the street, tears streamed down my face. Fucking Adam made me question myself, made me feel vulnerable in front of men. Even though I was beautiful and had worked hard on my body, it wasn't enough. I knew I saw desire in Logan's eyes, but it didn't matter. When I returned to the hotel, my eyes were dry and sore. I had a feeling there were no tears left. I hopped into the shower to wash away the memories of the night. I let the water envelop me as I tried to relax. When I finally lay down on my bed and closed my eyes, the image of Logan was back. Every detail of him was carved into my mind. I felt arousal building inside me again. It was intense, and I needed to let it go, but I refused to do that. I returned to the shower and stood under the cold water. In the aftermath, I fell asleep almost immediately. I was thankful I had set the alarm clock. It was morning now, and I had time to wash my face and put on some light makeup to cover my tiredness. I even had a small snack. I wore my skinny blue jeans, a tight white t-shirt, and my black sneakers. I looked simple and yet sexy because all of my curves were highlighted. I was going to meet my parents, so I put my hair in a high ponytail. That would do. As I was about to leave the room to buy myself a coffee, the door swung wide open. We grabbed our travel bags, checked out of the hotel, and went to my car. In 5 minutes, I parked it in the lot of our dormitory. My emotions were running high. I would be living in this place for the next 4 years. It felt unreal, like a dream. Soon enough, our parents stopped their car near the building. I was honestly glad to see Mom and Dad. They were always so supportive of me. I loved them with all my heart. My mum went with Madison and me to meet the dormitory's advisor. We learned that Madison and I wouldn't be sharing a room, though we would still be in the same building and would see each other. Madison tried to throw a tantrum, demanding the advisor change our rooms, but it was to no avail. I helped her calm down, and after that, we tried to settle in. My roommate wasn't here yet, so Mum and Dad helped me arrange my things in my half of the room. I was already starting to feel more relaxed. I only hoped that my future roommate and I would get along. After moving in, we all met up with Madison's family and went out for lunch, which was full of talk and laughter. It was a good thing our parents were friends. They had bought houses around the same time, and soon after, our mums had both gotten pregnant. Technically, Madison and I had known each other since we'd been in our mothers' wombs. It was late. After saying goodbye to our parents, Madison and I walked back to our dorm. I could tell just by glancing at her that she was ready to burst with excitement. So I gave her a look that said, "Spill it already." "Oh my God, Ray, you have no idea where my night ended." "I am all ears, Mads. You know I can tell when you're being sarcastic." "Whatever, bestie. I still want to tell you everything." So, things between Caden and I were getting pretty intense. We were ready to find a room when his friend Liam showed up. He was furious. He gave me a dirty look, like I was the reason he was mad. Jerk. He said something to Caden, and they both left. Stormed out without even one word to me. Can you imagine how frustrated I was? Yeah. The guy left you all horny in the middle of the party, so why didn't you come back to the hotel? Well, that's because I found a substitute. It was Tim Wallace. I arched my eyebrow in puzzlement. Seriously, Ray. Okay, he's on our football team. He walked up to me, and so please say no. I almost pleaded with her out loud, but I already knew. Logan from the party and Logan Jones were the same person. Just my luck, I guess. "Oh, so you were listening. Good to know you sometimes pay attention." "Yeah, the one and only." I was sitting on Tim's lap, and Logan sat right in front of us, so I took my chances and observed him a little. "Ray, he's stunning. He's a real catch. Yeah, we had football players at our school, but they were boys. He's a man, in every possible way. Jones is a leader among his fraternity brothers and the soul of the team. It's a pity that he's already taken. While Milton, on the other hand—" "Taken?" I asked, interrupting her. I had assumed, since he was alone yesterday, that he was single. Madison's revelation dashed any remaining hope I had of Logan taking a fancy to me. "Ha! You think a guy like him would be single? He's been dating his girlfriend since freshman year. Her name is Melanie, and she's beautiful, like a Barbie doll." "Oh, I get it now. Enough about Logan and the other shit. Where did you spend the night?" "With Tim? He was nice and suggested I stay in his room. I agreed, and well, one thing led to another. We had sex, obviously. A lot of sex. I couldn't even move when I woke up today." "Okay, no need for those details. Are you planning to see him again?" Tuoed nearby, watching as my date left the house. "Well, I'll spare you the details, but he took me to one of the rooms in the house where his friends from the team were playing cards. They were all there, even Logan Jones and Drew Milton. I almost peed my pants from the double hotness. I'd never seen them that close before, so I was kind of dumbstruck." "You said Logan Jones? Is he the star quarterback? You were talking about him yesterday, right?" "I don't know. It was good while it lasted, but I'm not sure." While talking, we reached our floor in the dormitory. Madison's room was closer than mine. I walked her to it and smiled. "Are you ready to meet your new roommate?" I asked. "Hardly. I'm still disappointed they didn't let us room together. So I hope, at least, she'll be a normal girl, not a freak." "I'm sure she won't be a freak. Go. I'll see you later." I laughed at her exasperated look and walked to my room. Before I could open the door, it swung wide open, and so did my eyes. There, in my room, right before me, stood Logan Jones in all his glory. Today, he was wearing a black t-shirt that was tight on his chest but loose at his waist. His jeans sat low on his hips, and with his right forearm resting high on the doorframe, I caught a glimpse of his sculpted abs. My mind went blank again, and I started to feel the heat between my legs. God, not again. I stood by the entrance to my room, my eyes locked on the warm, beautiful browns of Logan Jones's gaze. He was holding me captive again with just that look. Neither of us was ready to look away. His eyes slowly traveled down my body, again. When his lips curled into a smile, I realized he liked what he saw. Alongside the heat building between my legs, I felt my cheeks begin to flush. Then a girl's voice broke the silent tension between us. "Logan, move. There are still some boxes left." "Your roommate has arrived," Logan said, without even glancing away from me. I honestly didn't understand this guy. Where? I heard her squeak. Soon enough, Logan stepped aside, and I was face to face with his female twin. The girl was tall but slim. She had his straight nose, his brown eyes. Hers were bigger and rimmed with dark, fluttery lashes. She was cute and pretty in that effortless, girl-next-door kind of way. One look at her, and I just knew we'd become friends. Logan dropped the boxes near his sister while she got busy unpacking her things. Then he plopped himself onto her bed, leaning back on his elbows. The hem of his t-shirt shifted up, and I swallowed. Hard. Now I had a better view of his abs, still mostly hidden beneath his jeans. Was he doing this on purpose? No idea, but I enjoyed every second. As my eyes traveled up from his torso to his face, I caught him doing the same to me. Logan Jones was watching me, and when our eyes met, neither of us looked away. Finally, he spoke. I see you two already have a connection. You seem like you've known each other a while. It's girl stuff, brother. You wouldn't understand it. Don't mind me then. I honestly thought he would leave, or at least stop staring, but nope. He even started joining in our conversation. Logan Jones wasn't just a sexy hunk and a star quarterback with a chiseled body. He was kind, witty, smart. I was surprised. My ex-boyfriend wasn't any of those things. Adam was a hotshot, and that was all he had going for him. Logan, on the other hand, was layered. I felt good around these siblings, but at the same time, uneasy. I was starting to like Logan, the real Logan, who joked with his sister and tossed out clever remarks. It was one thing to be attracted to him physically, but now it was deeper. And that scared me, because I didn't have a chance. He wasn't single. Oh, it's already 6 p.m. What time does the party start? Lily asked, finishing up her unpacking. Her words snapped me back to reality. At 9. Why? Logan said. What do you mean, why? You said I could come, so I'm coming. And so is Rachel. Logan looked at her with an unreadable expression, then his brown eyes bored into mine again. And just like that, the stupid desire returned. Hard. God, I had a problem. And it was 6'3", lean-muscled, and standing in front of me. Could I even hold myself together with him looking at me like that? Yeah, I'll go. See you at the party then, I managed to say. He stood up and left without another word. I didn't even realize I was still staring at the closed door until I heard Lily groan beside me. Please tell me you don't have a crush on my brother. What? No, he's just... Hot? Intimidating? What is he just, Rachel? Her tone wasn't angry. It was sad, like she pitied me. And I hated that. Yeah, those things. But no, I don't have a crush on him. I hope not. Listen, Rachel. All of my friends have had crushes on Logan. He's never dated any of them. He's just not into girls our age. Back in high school, he dated a 21-year-old from our town. I don't want you to get your hopes up. You're beautiful. You'll find someone. But it won't be my brother. I went silent. Her words stung. When I came to college, I planned to focus on studies. I wasn't trying to date anyone. I had prepped myself to be alone, but still, her words made me feel small, stupid. Rachel, don't take it the wrong way. I don't want you to get hurt. Besides, he has a girlfriend, a very jealous one. But he likes her. When they're together, it's like he can't get enough of her. Last time they came home, my parents actually made them get a hotel. That's how loud they were. Trust me, he's not breaking up with Melanie. I'm saying this to protect you. Logan and I are close. He's going to be around. Thank you, Lily, for being honest and the voice of reason. I smiled at her, but inside, a storm was brewing. My first weeks at college were about to be filled with torture. If Logan was going to be around, that meant sexual frustration on a whole new level, unless he stopped looking at me the way he did. But something told me he wouldn't, and deep down, I didn't want him to. So, What are you wearing tonight? Lily asked, changing the topic. God, you sound like my best friend. Actually, maybe we could go find her. Your best friend's here? Yeah, we arrived yesterday. She should be settling into her room by now. Cool. Think she'll come to the party with us? If I don't ask her, she'll never forgive me. We laughed and headed to Kate's room. She opened the door wearing a frown, glanced at our faces, and sighed. I guess you're lucky enough to get the cute one as your roommate. Yes, Kate, this is Lily Jones. Lily, meet Kate Pierce, my overly dramatic best friend. What happened? Well, my roommate's a total nerd. She even... Wait. Kate froze. Her eyes widened. Did you say your last name is Jones? Oh my God. You've got to be kidding me. You're Logan Jones's sister, aren't you? Guilty. Lily laughed. She was clearly used to this reaction. We wanted to ask if you'd want to go with us to the frat party tonight. Is there going to be another one? We nodded. Abso-fucking-lutely. When are we going? I need prep time. 2 hours. Can you manage? Of course. Meet me here. She slammed her door shut, grinning like a kid at Christmas. Back in our room, Lily and I got ready together, chatting non-stop. We liked the same movies, the same books, and we even admitted our crush on Tom Hardy. But I mean, who doesn't? Lily wore a cute denim dress. She was slim with small boobs, and the dress added a little shape to her figure. Her brown hair was in a messy bun, which made her big brown eyes and sharp cheekbones stand out even more. She looked lovely. I didn't want to go, but if I told either of them, they'd drag me anyway. So I wore my jean shorts. They hugged my ass perfectly and changed into a red off-shoulder crop top. It showed some cleavage and gave me an edgy vibe. After debating between sneakers and sandals, I chose the latter. At 9 p.m., we left the dorm. Kate wore a simple black summer dress, which made me give her a questioning look. I have a theory, she said. I want to see if Tim likes me even when I look plain. If he doesn't notice me, it's his loss. Tim Wallace? Lily asked. Yeah, slept with him yesterday. You were at the party? Yeah, Rachel was too, but she hasn't said a word about her evening. Spill it. What can I say? I wandered around the house, then left. You promised me you'd have fun. That is pathetic. Kate pointed at me dramatically. I had my fun. I'm just not sharing it. Kate rolled her eyes. Lily broke the tension with her excitement. It was her first frat party, and she couldn't wait to see her brother and his friends. I just hoped I could make it through a few hours. And more than anything, I hoped I didn't see Logan. As I entered the house, loud with laughter and pulsing music, Lily caught my wrist in a tight grip and dragged me through the crowd. She was determined to find her brother. Kate trailed behind us, scanning the party for Tim. She pointed toward the room where I had seen Logan last night. God, no. Not that room again. We stepped through the doorway, and my breath caught in my throat. The same people from last night were lounging on the same couches. They looked like they had just started playing cards again, like time had frozen, and hit play again. But this time, Logan wasn't alone. My eyes locked on him immediately, just like they had the night before, but this time he was locked in a passionate embrace with a girl who had long, glossy black hair. I couldn't see her face. Her back was to me, but her body told me everything I needed to know. Slim waist, big boobs, long legs. She was wearing a tight floral bustier dress and stilettos. One of her legs was stretched out over Logan's thigh, and he was absently stroking it with his hand. Kate had been right. She looked like a real-life Barbie from Mattel. And Logan? He looked like he couldn't get enough of her. I swallowed hard and fought the sudden wave of nausea rising in my throat. My chest felt tight. I needed a drink, a strong one. I needed to erase the heat and hunger I'd felt whenever I was around him. I needed to forget it all. Lily finally released my wrist and rushed toward her brother. I could tell from the way her shoulders stiffened that she didn't like Melanie. She perched herself on the back of the couch and clapped Logan on the shoulder. He tensed, then he turned toward her. Melanie's face was still hidden from me, turned toward Lily now. Kate stood beside me, her arms crossed, eyes scanning the room again for Tim. When she didn't find him, she looked back toward the Jones siblings. "Look, Rachel, that's Melanie Barnes with Logan Jones," Kate whispered in my ear. "I mean, yeah, they look perfect together. But damn, I still envy that bitch. Why does he have to be so in love with her? It's not fair." I didn't say a word, I just nodded stiffly. The lump in my throat hadn't moved. My fingers clenched around the strap of my bag. I told myself, 5 more minutes. 5 minutes, and I'm out of this room. Then I heard Lily's cheerful voice cutting through the tension like a knife. "Rachel! Kate! Over here!" Number. No, no, no. I didn't want to go over there. I didn't want to be near them. I didn't want to feel this ache in my chest. But Kate was already pulling me toward the couches, all grins and excitement. She flopped down beside Lily, who was now seated next to her brother. And now, I could finally see Logan's girlfriend. Melanie Barnes was absolutely stunning. Her high cheekbones and full, pouty lips gave her an Angelina Jolie kind of beauty, but her eyes were a piercing, icy blue, narrow and intense. She looked like she belonged in a perfume ad. Why did she have to be this gorgeous? I stood there like an idiot while everyone on both couches turned to look at me. Hell, even people standing nearby were watching me like I didn't belong. "Rachel." Lily looked confused. I forced a smile and glanced at her, then looked at Logan. He was watching me too, but this time his gaze wasn't warm or curious. It was blank, cold. Gone was the heat, the tension, the silent spark we'd exchanged yesterday. Gone was the Logan who had looked at me like I was the only person in the room. Now he was just indifferent. He shifted his hand higher on Melanie's leg, caressing her like I wasn't even there. "Thanks for the cold shoulder, buddy." I forced my face into something neutral and turned to Kate. "I need a drink. Something that isn't disgusting. Kitchen." I looked away from Logan and locked eyes with another guy on the couch opposite Logan's, the blonde guy from yesterday. If I remembered correctly what Kate had told me that morning, his name was Drew Milton. He had a red-headed chick next to him, and she scowled at me. "Girl, I'm not interested in him, no matter how good-looking he is." Drew smiled and gestured for me to tum right in the hallway, presumably to get to the kitchen. I nodded and left the room. As I stepped outside, I heard Lily and Kate's voices. I wouldn't be coming back to this room. I found the booze and made myself a cocktail with lime, rum, and Coke. I was already on my 3rd cup when I felt the need to go dance, so I danced. I even sang one of Beyoncé's songs with the other girls. Well, mostly we were shouting, but it was fun. I didn't know their names, and they didn't know mine, but we had fun, and nothing else mattered. No one was looking for me, and honestly, I didn't give a damn about that as soon as I started drinking. I was sure they were having fun together. Maybe Logan had already left with his precious girlfriend and was banging her now. Fuck. I went to grab another cup. I downed the cocktail in 10 seconds flat. The warmth spread through me immediately. Tipsy and floating, I noticed guys beginning to glance in my direction. One of them, a tall guy wearing an LA Lakers cap, walked over confidently. I let him dance with me. I let him touch me. I even let him kiss me. And it was fine, until his hands slipped under my crop top. That's when I pushed him off, hard enough for him to get the message. Later that night, another guy slid into my orbit. This one had sleek blonde hair and an easy, charming smile. He started dancing near me, gradually getting closer until his hands rested on my hips. He was well built, broad shoulders, warm brown eyes, and an expression that wasn't pushy. I kissed him. This time, I was the one who slid my hands under his t-shirt, grazing the skin along his ribs. He didn't flinch. He kissed me back, responding slowly but confidently. But something felt off. Wrong. I stepped back, shook my head once and walked away. He didn't chase me, just smiled, a little sad, a little understanding, and let me go. 30 minutes later, I realized I needed a bathroom. Badly. My head was spinning, and I was floating in that reckless space between tipsy and drunk. I had lost count, but I knew I was at least 6 cocktails in by now. The bathroom on the first floor was locked, so I climbed the stairs, unsteady on my feet, and wandered to the far end of the second-floor hallway. I didn't even know where I was going, but somehow I found a bathroom and stumbled in. Here, inside the bathroom, I closed the door behind me and leaned back against it. What was I doing? I was drunk. Too drunk. I wasn't even sure I'd be able to find my way back to the dormitory in this state. Why was I so stupid? Once I finished, I gripped the edges of the sink and stared into the mirror. My eyes looked glassy and tired. My lips were swollen from kissing strangers, and my ponytail had completely fallen apart. With a sigh, I pulled out the band. My hair spilled down over my bare shoulders like a curtain. I needed to get out of here. I splashed cold water on my flushed cheeks, trying to snap myself out of the fog, then stepped out of the bathroom. As I headed toward the stairs, I passed a door near the hallway and paused. It was open just a sliver. That's when I saw him. Logan. He was standing in the doorway, bare-chested, wearing only a pair of low-slung sweatpants that clung to his hips like they had no business doing. His torso was a work of art, broad shoulders tapering into sharp, defined lines that formed a perfect V. My throat went dry. I couldn't stop staring. On his forearm, I finally saw the tattoo up close. A roaring tiger wreathed in flames, fierce and powerful. Just like him. I was completely mesmerized. My gaze slowly traveled up his chest, his neck, and then I saw them. Fresh hickeys. My mind snapped back into place like a slap. I looked harder, more carefully now. All the signs were there. His chest glistened with sweat, and he was barefoot. There was no doubt in my mind. Logan had just had sex. Minutes ago. I tilted my head slightly, trying to peer over his shoulder. That's when I saw her. A girl's naked body, face down on the bed, tangled in messy sheets. The curve of her bare ass was clearly visible. I jerked back, heart racing, and turned to bolt toward the stairs. But I didn't make it far. Before I could take even 2 steps, I heard the door behind me swing shut. Then Logan's hand clamped around my forearm. In one quick motion, he pulled me with him, back into the bathroom. He closed the door behind us and locked it. The click echoed in the tight space. I found myself standing in front of the glass shower while Logan positioned himself between me and the exit. His arms were crossed over his chest now, jaw clenched. What the hell was I doing here? I didn't know. But I did know one thing. I was scared. And not because I thought he'd hurt me, but because I couldn't read him. I couldn't understand why I was here, what he wanted, why he looked so angry. The alcohol wasn't helping. A sudden chill swept over me, and I crossed my arms tightly over my chest, rubbing them for warmth. "My sister and your friend were worried about you," he said. His voice was low, husky. "Why?" I shot back, defensive. "I was having fun, just like they told me to on the way here." "Yeah? Fun? Like making out with 2 different guys in one night? That's what you call fun?" I narrowed my eyes. "That's none of your business. For all you know, I could have had sex with both of them, maybe even at the same time." I gave a bitter laugh. Maybe I really should have gone for a threesome. You know, break the dry spell. It's been long enough. God, why did I just say that? Why did I tell him I hadn't had sex in forever? Pull yourself together, Rebecca. The cocktails were clearly messing with my head. In 2 swift strides, Logan was right in front of me. His fists were clenched. Instinctively, I backed up until my bare shoulders hit the icy glass of the shower. His presence was overwhelming, tense, unpredictable. Why was he this upset? This was only the 3rd time he'd seen me in his life. Why did he even care? And worst of all, he had just had sex with his gorgeous girlfriend, the one still naked in his bed. So why the hell was he wasting his time on me? Logan's eyes burned into mine. "Really, Rebecca," he said, voice sharper now. "Maybe I shouldn't have bothered kicking Matthews out yesterday. Maybe I should have let him have his way with you." Maybe, Logan. I don't know. I honestly don't know, I snapped, my voice cracking. It's been only 2 days. 2 days since I came here to study, and my life is already a mess. You didn't mean that, he replied, his tone more serious now. That guy might have raped you. The way he was groping you, I saw everything. I understood what was about to happen. He paused, then added, I stepped in to help you, even though it was the first time I'd ever laid eyes on you. And now you're telling me I should have just let him. Logan trailed off, his face twisted with disgust, not at me, but at the thought, at the memory. I let out a shaky breath and pressed both palms to my face. Then I dropped them to my sides, feeling drained. I don't know what you want to hear from me, I whispered. I'm tired. I just want to go back to the dorm. Please, Logan, let me go. The alcohol was really starting to hit now, hard. The emotional whiplash of the last 2 days, combined with this strange pull I felt toward him, was overwhelming. No, Logan whispered. My breath caught. What? I couldn't process it, couldn't wrap my mind around what he was doing, what was happening. My heart began to pound as he stepped toward me. Slowly, deliberately. His hands landed on my waist, sliding down to rest firmly on my hips. He pulled me closer until our bodies touched. We were chest to chest, eye to eye. What was he doing? Why was he doing it? We barely knew each other. 2 days. That's all it had been. 2 days. But it didn't feel like that. It felt like I'd known Logan forever. Since the moment I first saw him, something inside me had snapped to attention, like my body had recognized something my mind couldn't explain. I'd had crushes in high school, sure, but nothing like this. With them, it had always taken time. I needed to know a person before I could feel this kind of pull. Logan was different. Everything about this was different. Holy fuck, Rebecca. Logan groaned, his voice strained with something between desire and restraint. I was pressed tightly against him now. My hands moved up, almost instinctively, curling around the back of his neck. His fingers held my hips like he was afraid I might slip away. He hesitated. I saw it. The war behind his eyes. But I didn't move. I just stood there, waiting. And then he kissed me. His lips met mine with a force that stole my breath, soft but urgent. The kind of kiss that buckled knees and fogged the brain. My body gave way immediately. I nearly stumbled backward, but he held me up, his grip firm. His mouth moved with mine, our tongues colliding in a slow, intoxicating rhythm. I didn't care that my bare shoulders were pressed against the cold glass of the shower. I didn't care about anything but how hot I felt. His lips traveled from my mouth down to my jaw, then lower, to the base of my throat. When he sucked hard at the skin there, I knew there would be a mark, maybe more than one. And I didn't care. Not at all. One of Logan's hands rested firmly on my hip, grounding me, while the other slid up to the hem of my crop top. In a single, breathless motion, he tugged it down, and the fabric bunched loosely around my waist, leaving me in just my push-up bra. His finger traced a slow line along my exposed skin, skimming the top of my cleavage. A shiver shot through me. I didn't know what was supposed to happen next. I didn't have a plan. All I knew was that I wanted his touch, wanted him. So I arched toward him, a silent signal I didn't even realize I was giving. It was all he needed. His hand returned to my side, steadying me. His mouth found the base of my neck, lips warm and deliberate. He kissed a trail up to my jaw, lingering just below my ear. Every brush of his mouth sent waves of heat rushing through my body. I could feel him pressed against my thigh, every inch of tension, of restraint. His chest rose and fell with uneven breaths. My own hands had a mind of their own, gliding over his shoulders, exploring the muscles beneath his warm skin. We kissed again, harder this time. Breathless, desperate, like we were trying to memorize each other. His hand slid around the back of my knee, lifting it gently to press me closer to him. My body reacted instantly, hips moving against his in a rhythm I couldn't stop. A low sound rumbled from his throat. half growl, half groan, and it only deepened the ache I already felt. But then, just when nothing else existed but the fire between us, there was a sharp knock at the door. We froze. I didn't recognize the voice that followed, but Logan did. "Logan, are you in here? Is everything okay? Logan!" He looked at me, panic written all over his face. His hand slipped away from my leg, and he backed off, eyes searching mine like he was silently pleading for… what? Forgiveness? Silence? I didn't answer. I simply stepped aside, retreating to the corner of the shower where I couldn't be seen from the door. Logan gave me one last glance, his jaw clenched, chest rising and falling fast, then turned away. He ran a hand through his hair, straightened his sweatpants, and quietly unlocked the door. I stood in the dark, tucked into the corner of the bathroom, waiting for Logan to take his girlfriend, his actual, real girlfriend, back to bed. The door unlocked. I heard it creak open, followed by footsteps. Melanie stood there, wrapped in nothing but a blanket, her red hair tousled, face marked with sleep and frustration. "Logan, what took you so long?" she asked, voice thick with irritation. "You said you just needed the bathroom. That was almost 30 minutes ago. I even fell asleep and woke up because you were gone." Her words hit like cold water. I blinked rapidly, trying to clear my vision as tears welled up without my permission. The moment they returned to his room, I'd leave this house. No hesitation. I heard the door shut again. My chest rose and fell in shaky rhythm. I closed my eyes and let out a long, slow breath. That was it. I was done. This would be the last frat party I ever went to, especially if there was even a chance Logan Jones might be there. I never wanted to see him again. If Melanie hadn't shown up just then, I would have slept with him. The thought clung to me like shame. It made my skin crawl. What was I even doing? When I finally snuck back into the dorm, everything was quiet. Lily's soft snoring drifted from across the room. In the dim light, I saw Kate curled up in my bed. I tiptoed toward her and climbed under the blanket, wrapping my arm around her waist. She stirred, her voice groggy. "Where were you? Why didn't you answer your damn phone, Rebecca?" Hearing my full name felt like a slap. It hit a nerve I hadn't realized was so raw. Logan's voice echoed in my memory. I let out a sigh and pressed a kiss to the hollow of Kate's neck. "Can we talk about it in the morning?" I murmured. "Fine." Kate shifted, rolling over to face me. Her eyes opened, searching mine in the shadows. I didn't know what she saw, but whatever it was, she didn't ask. Instead, she leaned forward and placed a soft kiss on my lips before settling against me. We fell asleep, tangled together in my bed. I didn't feel much of anything by then. My mind was a haze, too worn down to think, too heavy to cry. I drifted into a deep, numb sleep. The only thing left with me was the dull ache in my heart and the realization that I was starting to get used to it. I woke up with a pounding headache. Clearly, the cocktails from last night hadn't gone unnoticed by my body. Even though I was awake, I stayed still in bed for several minutes, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment of yesterday. What happened, or almost happened, with Logan was a mistake. A huge mistake. If anyone ever found out, it would blow up in my face. So, first things first, I needed to stay as far away from Logan Jones and that fraternity house as humanly possible. Sadness pressed against my chest. Why did he do that? Lily told me Logan wasn't the type to cheat, that he didn't go for girls our age. But last night, he proved her wrong. He had sex with Melanie. Then he walked out of his room and came straight to me. Maybe he was just worried I'd be a bad influence on his sister, given how I acted at the party. Maybe all he wanted was to talk to me. But then, why did he kiss me? Why did I let him kiss me? Ugh, I feel so stupid. So many questions, no answers, none that made any sense. I wouldn't ignore him if we crossed paths. I wasn't a child, but I would do everything I could to avoid him on campus. It was the only way to keep myself sane. I hadn't slept with anyone since Adam dumped me. Maybe that was part of it. Maybe I wanted Logan so badly because I was just lonely. But now, Now I was just angry. Logan Jones was a complete arsehole. Are you always that rude? I heard the male mocking voice and realized that the question was addressed to me. It was Drew Milton. He was leaning slightly over the table, giving me a smirk that made my skin crawl. I raised an eyebrow. Excuse me? You just stormed off earlier without a word. Not even a hello now that you're back. I was starting to think you didn't like me. I gave him a flat look. I didn't know we were that close. Anyway, she said brightly, her fingers brushing Logan's arm. We just came by to say hi. We're heading out soon. Logan has practice. Of course he does. Of course she had to announce it like that. I simply nodded and looked down at the table. Our food had arrived while I was gone, and the pancakes smelled like salvation. You sure you're okay? Lily asked softly. I nodded again, pushing the syrup across the table. Yeah, just a rough night. Melanie chuckled, not kindly. Happens when you drink too much, right? I looked up and met her eyes. Right. Logan finally spoke. Let's go, Mel. His voice was short, clipped. He didn't look at me again. Melanie kissed his cheek, exaggerated, and they turned to leave. Drew gave me a last glance, like he wanted to say more, but followed them out with the redhead. As soon as they were gone, I let out a long breath I hadn't realized I was holding. Kate nudged me. Well, that wasn't awkward at all. I gave a dry laugh. Could have been worse. He could have stayed. Honestly, Lily said, cutting into her pancakes, I'm starting to think my brother is losing his damn mind. I didn't respond. I couldn't. The silence around me was loud, and my thoughts screamed louder than any words they could offer. Out of sight, out of mind. That's what I needed. But deep down, I already knew. I'd see Logan Jones again. And next time, I wouldn't be drunk. I wouldn't be vulnerable. And I sure as hell wouldn't be caught off guard. Only when I want to be. Why? I turned and looked at Drew. He was enjoying my discomfort. Another stunning asshole. Well, at least you could say, hey, it's just a question of your manners. His grin was wide, and his eyes roamed over my body like I was a snack. I smirked back at him. Yeah, he's gorgeous, but no. Thank you. Never. Drew, some girls just don't have it in them. They need to be educated, but as we see now, even then, it's not enough. Melanie's words were like venom. What the fuck? I had never even talked to her before. Shit, she just saw me for the second time in her life. Do you have a problem with me? I looked her right in the eyes. Nope, I don't deal with girls like you. You aren't worth my time or the time of my friends, she spat, and turned to look at her boyfriend. Logan stood there with his hand on her shoulder. He hadn't said a word in my defense. His bitch was insulting me, and he was silent. Message received, very clear. Honey, you wanted to say hi to your sister. We did it. I want to eat my breakfast in a relaxed atmosphere. I need energy after our passionate night. I guess you did miss me. Melanie traced her finger over his chest. For the second time this morning, I felt the need to vomit. Of course. Let's go. I will see you tomorrow, Lily. Bye, Logan answered, his expression inscrutable. They started to walk away from our table. Do you really think that it's okay for her to talk to my friend like that? Lily's voice was full of anger. She looked at her brother with furrowed eyebrows.